It's a very strange sensation because it's the whole body sitting still from the rib cage beginning to hurt, the shoulders, the shoulder blades, and it only being able to adjust very slightly. And so it's a bit spacey feeling, but also very clear. It's a mix between the two. I allow the thoughts, whatever thoughts arise, to just come, and I become very aware of when I'm following a particular thought and then trying to find the spaces between the thoughts. And when feelings like boredom or frustration or any of those kinds of things come in, again, there's nowhere to go. You can't go anywhere. You can't distract yourself. So again, you just have to sit with that and, use every meditation tool possible to just carry on. I mean, I've not done this kind of piece before, but the day before I go to a sort of quiet place is the preparation, and it requires going to a place of great vulnerability and openness, but also a sense of kind of like a horse in the starting gate, and it's going to happen, it's coming, but there's no point in feeling nervous or afraid. You just, so I prepare by allowing myself to become very open and not allow myself to be too distracted by everyday stuff. All of the things that arise during the sitting, particularly about my mother and all sorts of thoughts around just what it is to be a human being, because there's all these live human beings walking around in the space, and I'm aware of my breath and my blinking, and I'm alive, and then I think of just this image of my mother, which is not my mother, it's a representation of her, and so all of those thoughts get mixed in, and all the kind of big life and death stuff comes into my mind. My mother died 4 years ago. Time does heal a lot of it, but at the same time, what is time? It is such a strange thing because it feels like yesterday sometimes, and I certainly never imagine, I imagine remembering being at her deathbed, and that comes into my mind, and also strangely thoughts of her last few months and last couple of years of her life come to the fore more than my childhood and things like that. And remembering, and I suppose because the photograph of her here is just after her mastectomy and when she was first treated for cancer, and she was so afraid, and she didn't know how long she would live. She lived another 8 years after diagnosis. And suddenly getting into that mindset, what was that like for her? What was it like for her to think about her own death and leaving all of us? And I remember at the time feeling quite selfish in a way, because suddenly all the focus was on her illness, and I look back and sometimes feel quite ashamed of myself. Yeah. And it's easy, I think, to attach to the sadness of war, of death, of loss, and that's only one side, like one layer, and what's beyond sadness? There's something beyond that. Yeah.